interesting facts about famous people.
10 Cattle Drive Western movies. Movies about moving the herd. Head 'em up, move 'em out. Western cowboy movies featuring cattle drives. From authentic westerns to cowboy comedies. I know you guys know at least some of these movies, and I know some of you really like some of them as well. Another twist on the western genre theme. So put out the campfire and let's move 'em out. If you like this video, take a look at my channel for many more. The link is in the description. Apologies as always for any mispronunciation of names. Lonesome Dove, 1989 to 90. Technically a mini-series, but there is no way we were going to leave this one off the list. This epic follows the Hat Creek outfit, led by ex-Texas Rangers Woodrow Call and Augustus McRae, on a great adventure, moving cattle from Texas to Montana. A story of friendship, values, and a fading way of life. A favourite with audiences and critics, winning 7 Emmys and breathing new life into the Western genre.
Never meant no harm.
The Cowboys, 1972. When his crew abandons him for the gold fields, rancher Will Anderson, John Wayne, is forced to take on a group of young boys to drive his herd to market. Under Anderson's guidance, the motley crew of youngsters learn what it means to do a man's job, especially once confronted with cattle thieves. This coming-of-age story is beautifully scripted. The imagery is stunning, and Wayne gives one of his best performances of his career.
Yes? Well, then I call her beloved husband and father. That'll be fine.
Red River, 1948. John Wayne plays the tyrannical Thomas Dunson, who will complete his cattle drive at all costs, even if it means killing his adopted son, played by Montgomery Clift. The Indian attacks, stampedes, gunfights, and frontier panoramas make Red River a great western. The portrayals of complicated characters with challenging relationships make it a movie not to be missed.
Go ahead, say it.
You was wrong, Mr. Dunson.
There's Luke,
The
Russ,
Culpeper
Missoula, and
Cattle
Dixie
Company,
Brick. Russ was
1972.
kind of crazy.
This underrated western follows Greenhorn, Ben Mockridge, Gary Grimes, on his first cattle drive, led by trail boss Frank Culpeper, Billy Greenbush. It's an unflinching portrait of how bleak life could be in the West. The film is gritty, violent, and rough, with blurry boundaries between the white hats and the bad guys. City Slickers, 1991. Mitch, Billy Crystal, and his friends are having their midlife crisis, so they decide the best antidote is to go on a Wild West cattle drive adventure under the guidance of Cowboy Curly, Jack Palance. Hijinks and mishaps ensue in this western comedy that is equal parts hilarious, thoughtful, and inspiring.
Wow, something's spooking the cattle.
City folk.
Open Range, 2003, directed by and stars Kevin Costner, based on the 1990 novel The Open Range Men. This riveting movie depicts the challenges cowboys and settlers faced in the Wild West, centered around a former soldier turned cattleman, boss, Spearman. He and his crew face off with a land baron while moving cattle across the country. There is violence between the townspeople and open rangers, as the two sides navigate the Wild West in their own way. Shootouts, action, drama, romance, and beautiful imagery a great modern western with classic roots in this genre. Australia, 2008. Stars Nicole Kidman and Hugh Jackman. Directed by Baz Luhrmann. An epic tale of romance and action. In the weeks leading up to the start of World War II, an English aristocrat inherits a sprawling cattle ranch station in Australia. Reluctantly, she forms a pact with a rugged local, Hugh Jackman, and they set out on a cattle drive to save the station. Travelling hundreds of miles, a romance blossoms as the war begins to engulf the world. Beautiful and powerful, combines action, love and stunning imagery. It showcases the Australian outback and the dangers of life as the world is engaged in war. Broken Trail, 2006. Another television miniseries. Broken Trail came out in 2006 and gathered a large fan base. Emotional and powerful, it provides a twist on the traditional grittiness of classic cowboy films. In the epic two-part series, what began as a simple journey to sell 500 horses took a complete change of direction. A veteran cowboy and his nephew save 5 Chinese girls from a life of prostitution while travelling from Oregon to Wyoming. Upon saving the women from a tragic fate, they must protect them from bandits while embarking across the rugged frontier. This award-winning miniseries is a must-watch for any Western lover. With compelling characters and beautiful scenery, Broken Trail will draw you in.
Take the girls into this town, find some civil authority to take them.
All right, ladies, let's go.
Take me with you.
It just feels like we're being dogged.
Hold on!
The Big Land, 1957. After the Civil War, bitterness remained between Southerners and Northerners. In order to supply eastern cities with beef, former Confederates from Texas drove their herds to the trailheads in Missouri. After a long and hard cattle drive through the Badlands, former Confederate officer Chad Morgan and his partners arrive at the railhead in Missouri, where corrupt cattle buyer Brogg and his gunfighter partner offer to purchase the Texans' herds for a pitiful sum. Brogg knows the cattle are weakened by the long drive from Texas and cannot survive a return drive to Texas. He also knows the Texans are desperate to sell for any amount of money they can settle for. The Tall Men, 1955. On their way to the goldfields of Montana, after serving with the Confederate Army's Quantrill's Raiders, brothers Ben and Clint Allison, in need of money, decide to rob wealthy businessman Nathan Stark. They force him to go with them to a hideout where they promise he will be allowed to leave the next day, less his money. Stark convinces them into becoming partners with him on a cattle drive from Texas to Montana, using Stark's money and Allison's expertise. While the three are on their way to buy the cattle, their pack horse loaded with supplies falls into an icy river. They come upon a party of starving settlers who give them shelter from a blizzard. Among them is Nella Turner, whom both Ben and Stark find intriguing.
I just gotta take my shoes off. My feet are killing.
Please take time to take a look at my Facebook page for new information.